Hey there, Ryan Dahl here, back with another episode of Praise Charts Live. I can tell that the next half an hour is probably going to be the best half an hour of my day. I have Lauren Lee from North Point. I just got to spend the last 7 minutes chatting with her, and already I'm like, oh my, this is going to be powerful. This is going to be meaningful, authentic, and real. In fact, just as I was talking with her, I made up that title that was like, Let's Get Real. Because don't we need that as worship leaders? Sometimes it's like, would someone just please speak to me like I'm a human being going through real stuff in life and not everything is perfect and all of that? I mean, I need that for my life. And so it's so refreshing when you can just have that real kind of authentic conversation and still be validated in the role and in the ministry of worship leadership. So I think this is what the church needs, and this is going to be a great conversation. So let's welcome Lauren Lee to the Praise Church Live. Oh, just a second. I'll fix this. What happened? Come on. Okay. Oh, Lauren. You know, I had it going so perfect. And then here we go. Just a second. I'll fix this. People, if you're with me, just wait and I'll figure this out. Ryan, yes. What's going on?
Hi.
Oh, there you are. You know what?
That's
Whatever.
perfect that happened because we're about to talk about authenticity and real.
I know. Sometimes you just gotta go with it, right? So
exactly.
I'm gonna roll with this. I like you on the iPhone. You look good there.
Look, here I am.
So
yeah,
maybe I'll just make that's right. Oh, Lauren, I love it. How you just make it perfect. It's like, I just talked about being real, but I want my show to be perfect.
I know. Look at it. Look at God.
I know. That's kind of how it goes. Well, Lauren, I already feel so refreshed just chatting with you. First thing I want to know, and I never actually got to ask you this as we were getting introduced before, is like, what's your role at North Point? How is North Point set up as a worship ministry? Is there like a worship pastor, or is there a whole team? Or tell me a little bit about that context that you're a part of.
Yeah, so North Point has, I believe, 8 campuses at this time. And so they have what we call SPD directors, which are service programming directors, and they oversee the worship and the tech at each campus. And then they will plug in whatever worship leader that they want for that week. So I feel really lucky that I get to kind of go around and see all of our different campuses and what God's doing. So yeah, it's really great.
So great.
I'm not.
Can you go around by car, or do they have to fly you, or is it we're talking helicopter, or what are we talking here?
There's no helicopters. I'm not that fancy. Okay. I just drive my Chevy Equinox.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Now you're very real.
So yeah, it's great though. It's great to be able to I don't know, it's really diverse, and getting to see the different groups of people. We have 8 in the Atlanta metro area. So, and they're also different because some are more in the inner city, and then some are kind of out in, the suburbs. And so it's a really unique worship leading experience, but I love it.
Does every location have their own band, or does the band kind of go around and worship leaders go around, or how does that work?
They do kind of, plug and play, different people, different places. But for the most part, I'll either be, and different bands will either be at, one campus or another. Like I'm mostly at our Woodstock City campus or our North Point campus. So it kind of depends on where you live, I think.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, you guys have made some incredible music from North Point. I mean, certainly the one that many of us are so familiar with is Death Was Arrested, which has kind of become this like nationwide, almost iconic song for you. And I've certainly sung that many times, even as I've led worship. I don't know. I don't think you were a part of actually writing that song. You're just part of the team that was around, or were you around when that song was written?
I actually wasn't. I've only been
Okay.
a part of North Point for 3 years, but
Mm-hmm.
it's actually like a total full circle moment because I led Death Was Arrested at my previous church,
Yeah.
and then to now be a part of the team that's making music like Death Was Arrested is just
Yeah.
it's pretty wild. It's like a
That's
dream come
beautiful.
true. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, that's kind of, I want to talk a little bit about writing songs, for your church. I think you have a heart for that because you, as North Point, really, you're probably first thinking we're writing music for a church, and it's great that it goes far and wide beyond us. But these are our people, and so many churches. I know it's just the reality is that we don't even have time to write songs, so we just are looking for what are the best songs that other people have written. But let's just talk about that heart for writing music for your own church. Tell me about some experiences that you've had where you've gathered some of your fellow worship leaders together and gone, what's the Lord saying to us here in Atlanta, here for North Point? What's that looking like in your church?
Yeah, you set that up so perfectly. I think North
Okay.
Point has a really unique vantage point where we're not just a band that is writing songs, for radio, which that has its own place. I'm
Yeah.
not, dogging on that at all. But that we get to write songs for our church. And then if they happen to be impactful for other churches, that's great. Yeah, I mean, really a lot of the songs on this upcoming album and some of the songs that we're going to talk about today came from a place of um, we want to serve our church and just stories that we've been hearing about things that people have been going through at our church and wanting to give people language around the heart of God concerning
Mm-hmm.
those issues and those topics is definitely at the utmost priority for us.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be able to love on people through worship and it not just be a time for us to entertain them by any means, but
Yeah.
instead to give them language that will carry them throughout their week and hopefully their life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Beautiful. So, and I think one of the things I've loved about you, I was saying, I was just watching one of the videos where you're introducing the song "Deliver." It was a beautiful moment that you had, and I just appreciate that the band just kind of like stepped in the background a little bit and just let you reveal a little bit of yourself and your story, and you, as many of us in our lives, have a story that has some pain, has some real challenges in it, and somehow you're giving us permission even through this song to be real, to be authentic, to be vulnerable. Do you want to maybe just tell us a little bit about your heart for that heart for being authentic and being real, and what's the culture like at North Point where they give you permission to do that? Because I think that's also important that your senior pastor gives the worship leaders permission to not look like they have it all together on Sunday morning. It's a culture, right? It's a church culture. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because you can be as authentic as you want to in your songwriting process, but if you're not allowed to share that, then,
Right.
what does it matter?
Right.
So I'll share a little bit about Deliverer in specific because that
Okay.
song is just like so happened so organically and came from a vulnerable place. We got to the songwriters of our church who write for North Point Worship got to go on a little retreat, and
Hmm.
it was actually myself and my friend Clay and Desi, and we just started talking about life as you normally do when you're writing a song, and it
Yeah.
became really like obvious that God had put us in the room together on purpose because we each were going through like a very tough time
Hmm.
in our personal lives. And I share about this a little bit in that video, but only a little while before the retreat, I had actually gone through a divorce, which is a very
Hmm.
I don't know, it's like a kind of taboo thing to talk
Yeah.
about in church.
Yeah.
And Clay shared just some relationship troubles that he was going through, and Desi was dealing with a lot of guilt, as we do
Yeah.
sometimes when we make decisions, um and we just felt so compelled to worship through that
Hmm.
and to write a song that showed how God was seeing each of us through in our particular circumstance. And so Deliverer just happened. I
Hmm.
don't I still don't really fully understand what happened in that room. I've never
Hmm.
experienced a co-write like that. And honestly, we've seen God work in miraculous ways since even writing the song.
Hmm.
Like you said, you watched a video of me sharing about the origin of the song at our church,
Hmm.
and that felt like a miraculous moment. The fact that
Yeah.
I got to share from stage that I went through a divorce and my life's not perfect, and that,
Yeah.
like you said, leadership would allow us to talk about these really hard things,
Yeah.
and to see the impact then of people being like, oh, the people that lead me every week are going through the same things that I'm going
Right.
through, and we're all
Yeah.
in this thing together.
Yeah.
It's just been seriously one of the most unifying things that I've ever experienced. Just to be able to share our story and then to hear other people say, "Thank you, I'm going through a tough
Hmm.
time too,"
Yeah.
and we're all in it together.
Yeah,
So
beautiful. And I think that's cool is that Deliver wasn't just your own story. You were writing it as a part of a team. So it's like
right,
collectively you're bringing your stories into that songwriting moment. And then it's not just a time to sort of like talk about your divorce or somebody else's anxiety or depression or even
right,
suicide. Like we're talking about some pretty significant things that,
correct.
let's be honest, some stages people would be like, if you're dealing with that, I think you need to take a break, and
Yeah,
because we want the kind of the clean people on stage. And I was telling you, I really have a heart for this whole message of authentic worship, vulnerable, and the freedom to be vulnerable and real, because I feel like that's, you were even saying through COVID, the pandemic and stuff like that, there's been a bit of a reset and people are coming back going, okay, like I'm ready for something real now because I feel a little
right.
different than I was a couple of years ago. I know I feel like that personally.
Oh,
So
I do too, and if we're
yeah,
not willing to talk about that, like, what's the point? If we can't
yeah,
be real and say this like, if we're just not even gonna talk about reality, then what are we doing? I mean,
right.
God is working in reality,
Yeah,
so we should probably talk about
yeah,
reality.
yeah,
I think too, like church leadership feels this responsibility, which, of course, we are held to a certain set of standards, as we see in like
yeah.
First Timothy 3. Like there are standards for church leadership, but I'm becoming more and more convinced that God gets glory when we're just honest,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot more impactful than trying to be perfect, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like something I heard from you as we were going into this, and you said to me, Ryan, like, no questions off the table here. So it's like I mean, I'm not gonna go everywhere in all of that, but you came to the table. I can feel that you're not burdened by shame. I kind of feel that in my spirit as I'm speaking to you, that you're willing to be real, but it's like I don't have nothing to hide here. So if you want to ask something, you just ask it. So
Yeah,
that's part of it as well, is it's not let's be vulnerable so that we can get on stage and be so, I'm so stressed and I'm so depressed or whatever. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, it was tough this week or last month or this year or whatever, and I'm, and here's how I'm pressing through it, or here's some questions, or here's some struggles, or I don't
right.
know, but I can feel that from you, that sense of, yeah, I've been through some stuff, but I'm not carrying a burden of shame, and so that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm walking every
Yeah.
day in redemption. I
Right.
I that's not to say every day is easy.
No.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a single parent. I have a 2-year-old daughter.
Oh,
It's hard
yeah.
to try to lead worship when you're grieving. It's hard to lead worship when when you are walking through shame or when you have really dark thoughts or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's that's a moment for God's glory to shine through and say, I'm super weak right now,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna sing these words even if I don't believe them for myself right
Yeah.
now, and I'm gonna sing them over you, and I pray you'll sing them over me.
Yeah.
I just think it's an opportunity to show that God remains the same even when our circumstances don't.
Yeah. Beautiful. I just want to have a look at, I got another screen to show the song deliverer, and I even brought up the music. And maybe you could just talk me through some of the lyrics. Maybe
Sure.
I don't know who thought of these words. Did some of them come from one person and another? Just walk me through that little retreat moment
Yeah.
as these words kind of started to come to the surface.
So during the retreat, we were reading through. We had a pastor come in and pastor us, which was really sweet. And he
Mm-hmm.
was leading us through Exodus and the children of Israel, going through the desert, going through the river. So you'll see that represented throughout the lyrics. You made a way out of deserts and rivers. You made a way out of bondage. The
Mm-hmm.
Israelites coming out of bondage on their way to the promised land. So you'll see that throughout, and even wandering, the fire and the cloud. So there was a lot of a lot of scriptural references that
That was coming out of teaching that you're getting. That's what you're
right,
saying. Yeah,
correct. We
beautiful.
were being
Yeah,
poured into, and we were
yeah,
able to pour out,
yeah,
which is fantastic. But
yeah.
um, I mean, it truly was throughout the whole thing a joint effort between the three of us,
Hmm.
and I think the most impactful part for me was the bridge. Because obviously in the verses, it's a little more not vague, but anyone can, relate to those words. And then you
Yeah,
get to the bridge and it starts to get very specific about the things that we were each going through. Never alone in anxiety, never alone in depression.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah. You're just, those are the words
going
right
for it.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
never alone in addiction,
yeah.
in every circumstance. And actually, this is kind of a fun fact.
Hmm.
We did a demo of the song the day that we wrote it. And I use demo very loosely because we literally just press record and I
Yeah.
played piano. And then we had a microphone that we passed around and each person sang something. And it ended up being like 10 minutes long. And Clay was singing, very specific things about his life. I'm never alone in, you know, in my parent wounds. I'm never alone in whatever he was going
Yeah.
through. I sang like, I want my daughter to see that I'm never alone. He'll see us through, so we were singing very specific things. And I don't know, maybe the world will never hear that little demo, but it was
Yeah.
just a really special moment where we were able to get very specific about what we needed God to
Yeah.
deliver us from.
I was telling you I had a thought. I've never actually done this in here before, but I'm sitting in like a little studio. I've got a piano here, and I
Yeah,
thought maybe if I just played a little bit, maybe you could just sing with me or sing. I don't know.
sure.
Let's just try the verse a little. So now is that coming through? Is that coming through okay? Can you
I
hear
can't
that?
hear the piano.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Oh no. Well, let me see if I can fix it. Like I
Okay.
say, this is all real, and I
Yeah,
just
look at us.
realized. I know I'm just making this up as I go, but I bet you I can fix it because I had a setting here. Let me see. GarageBand. I know that. Oh, here we go. Okay. Is it coming through now?
Yep, I can hear it. Great.
So it kind of goes
Oh,
like this. Something.
beautiful. Yep.
So hopefully we can go. Oh, go ahead.
Why did I waste so much time worrying? You've had a plan all along. I'm listening. You made a way out of deserts and rivers, just as the way.
Beautiful.
So dependent. If I hear you speak, I don't need an explanation. And if you tell me no, I don't need the destination. If what's promised I never see, I'm still walking with you. You're still walking with me.
Beautiful.
I
I'm
love it.
sorry.
I'm
I
glad I
know I
didn't
was.
forget the words. Sometimes I
I
forget words of songs I write. I don't know
That
why
was
that is.
beautiful. I know I was a little bit playing off time, but it's because there was like a slight delay.
Oh, that's
Somehow
fine.
my computer can't handle it all. But hey, this is an episode about getting real.
Authenticity.
And so, it's just you and me. Now I'm gonna come back to you and me here. Let's see if I can find a screen that will bring us back. There we go.
Plus, they
Oh,
they always
wrong
talk
name.
about, "I'm Ross
There.
today."
uh,
Oh, so funny.
Thank you for
Ryan,
that.
I love talking to you. This is awesome.
Oh, really? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Because it's like, okay, we could just be real. I mean, who
yeah,
cares? There's a couple people listening to us. And sometimes, I know we show up on stage and it's like the lights, there's smoke, there's
yeah,
lasers, microphones, everything's so perfect. And someone
yeah,
just needs to come and like level the playing field a bit. And
totally.
I kind of feel like I want to be a voice for that. So you've really, yeah, you've let that happen today, and I'm so glad for what you guys are doing at Northput. I mean, really, you're one of the largest, most impacting churches in America, really, and yet this kind of real life spirit comes from that, and I think that it's a good message that we wanted to hear today, and I just want to encourage you in that. We really need that, especially in this season after the pandemic. People are coming back. Some people aren't even coming back because they're just
Right.
tired of what it was, right?
Totally. Yeah, I
And
think
so,
we're moving
yeah,
in a direction where uh people are far less impressed with excellence
right.
and they just want somebody to be real.
Yeah, love it,
So,
love it, love it.
yeah.
Okay, well, are there a couple other songs that have just come out? Why don't we just talk about? There's an album? I think the album comes out next week. Is that right?
It
You want to just
does
give us a
on
little?
Friday.
Yeah, good for you. So why don't you
April
just give
8th.
us a little context of that? What songs, maybe some other songs that you're really looking forward to, some themes that are coming out, and
Yeah.
things that we can be looking forward to. Yeah.
So the album is called Our God Will See Us Through, which comes out of Deliverer. Because that's just what we felt like this whole season was for us as a band and for us as a church, where we went through the obvious one is COVID, but people have
Yeah.
throughout all of history gone through trials and tribulations and joys and ups and
Yeah.
downs, and that's just how life is. And God
Yeah.
is with us and kind to be with us every step of the way. So we titled the album Our God Will See Us Through, and there are 10 songs on the album that I think speak to those things, the highs and the lows that we
Yeah.
find, and the consistent nature of God throughout it all. So one of the songs that came out as a single is called Prodigals, which is an up song,
Yeah.
and it's a total celebration of the fact that whether
There
we
you
have
go.
only
Someone was
just
mentioning that.
oh yeah, prodigals.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a total celebration of whether you've been walking with Jesus for a long time or just beginning your followership of Him. That the Father is always calling us home with open arms. So there's moments of celebration throughout the album. Obviously, Deliverer is more introspective and um, you know a kind of a song of surrender. We have songs that are total just exaltation of
Hmm.
Jesus as Lord. And there's one song called All Praises, that Jesus is holy and He's worthy. He's glorious and worthy of all of our praise and adoration. A song called No Other King that points to Him being on the throne. There's a really fun song, more of a story song called This Is My Song.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Heath, our friend Heath, I love him so much.
Hmm.
He gets to share a little bit about how he grew up hearing the hymns and as a kid, and they kind of went over his head. And as an adult, the words and the truth found in all those old songs became an anthem for him to sing. And so that becomes his story that God has seen
Beautiful.
him through time and time again. So I don't know. I could not be more proud of this collection of songs. I couldn't be more proud and grateful that I get to do it with the people I get to do it with. They really, truly love Jesus,
Yeah.
and we're really, truly friends,
Hmm.
which I think sometimes is not the case. We love each other. We do life with each other. We do
Yeah.
Bible study with each other. We raise our kids together. Um, So, and I think you'll feel that reflected in the album. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't be more excited for
Hmm.
it.
Have you had that kind of live worship experience with it, or is it a studio album, or do you get to present
That's a
it
great
to
question.
your church? How did that go?
That's a great question. So it, like I said, we have a really unique situation because we get to lead every week,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we've gotten to try out these songs for the people that we wrote them for, which
right.
is so amazing. So all of our campuses are playing these songs already,
Hmm.
which has just been really humbling. And yeah, I just am so thankful for the support that they've given these songs. And actually, we recorded the album live. So we went to one of our campuses and invited everybody to come and to sing. And so the background vocals that you hear are people that we love and cherish every week.
Hmm.
And so it's a group effort.
Yeah,
It's not just the songwriters that
yeah,
got to be a part of this. It's been our entire church.
yeah.
And we felt that from a support level too. People are really excited and they've connected with these songs and feel like they're theirs because they're on
Beautiful.
them, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Hopefully,
So,
we'll see some more videos. Did you guys had some video cameras? I'm sure on those live
yep,
worship nights. Yeah,
yep. So every song
beautiful.
has a video that we'll release, and
Yeah.
it's a whole live experience.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Well, guess
yeah.
what? We're going to have
What?
all the music on Praise Charts and
Yeah.
we track with it. We make the chord charts and lead sheets and piano sheets, choir sheets, orchestrations, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we
Oh,
don't do it all
awesome.
for every song, but it definitely, we've seen lots of songs from North Point make their way up through the channels, and we're definitely right there with you. But this is my first time actually talking to someone from North Point. So now I feel way more
Oh,
connected
awesome.
to what you're doing. And this is exactly why we want to do this with Praise Charts Live. Just have these natural conversations with the songwriters and the worship leaders, hear a bit of their heart. And you've been a great encouragement. I see lots of people in the chat, Turner and Lacey, Shannon. I know that Lauren can see these as well. Lots of people just making comments. They're very excited
Awesome.
about your music and super
Awesome.
appreciative. So thank you, Lauren. We'll look
Oh,
forward to the whole album coming out on
yes.
Praise Charts and Spotify and YouTube and every other thing, but mostly Praise Charts. That's mostly what we're
Yeah.
excited about.
Yeah,
So, of course,
exactly,
of
exactly.
course.
Well, and thank you for how you impact,
Yeah,
and allow the church to have access to these songs. So,
thank you.
so
Yeah,
thankful for the work that you do
that's
as
right.
well.
It's a team effort, right? It's a team
Yes, it
effort.
is.
So
Look at
there you go.
us,
Okay.
2
And
real people.
that's right. Very real. This whole episode was full of bloopers, and I'm not gonna delete them out at all. They're gonna stay
Good.
in the show. That's just the
I
way
love
it
it.
is. Okay.
I
Thank
love
you,
it.
Lauren. God bless you.
Thank you
Have
so
yourself a
much.
wonderful day. See you later from Praise
Thank
Church
you.
Live.